Welcome back to Listen Up Podcast at Grace Christian University, where we take deep dives into student lives.
We have some announcements for you today. The game sign-up starts today at the Kahawa. What is the game, you ask? Everyone who signs up will receive a person's name in their school mailbox. When the game starts next Tuesday at 12 p.m., your goal is to eliminate the person who you received by hitting them with a sock. Once they are eliminated, you will then try to eliminate the person that they were assigned to. This goes on until one person remains. This can go as quickly as a few days or a couple weeks long. First place this year gets a $100 Amazon gift card, and second place gets a $50 gift card. And more information will be given next week. Early Tuesday mornings, there will now be student prayer gatherings. For time and location, you can talk to Julia Schultz. Wednesday morning, starting at 9:30 in the Commons, is our Campus Service Project Day. This includes a free lunch and chapel scan for participants. Also, there are no classes on Wednesday. On Wednesday afternoon, a tailgate party for both our soccer teams is being held in front of the soccer field. It will start at 3:30, with the women's game beginning at 2:30 and the men's beginning at 5. Wednesday night at 7 p.m., the Spiritual Emphasis Committee is hosting Paint and Praise in the President's Room in the dining hall. Come for a powerful time of worship through art. Encounter Women's Retreat is happening this Friday through Sunday. There are 3 spots left. If you are interested in attending, the cost is $25. Please bring your payments and your interest to Amy Bolcom by Wednesday at 5 o'clock at the latest. Eye of the Tiger Junior High All-Nighter is also this weekend. If you are volunteering and have any questions, you can talk to Pastor Rick. This week is going to be off the heezy. Hey, welcome back to the Listen Up Podcast. We're so glad that you're tuning in today. Today we have a great guest for you. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Jared Farnsworth, and this is my 4th year of college, so I call myself senior.
Awesome. So, Jared, how has your 4th year been so far?
Pretty busy. I'm taking 16 credits right now. I took 3 for a term, and on top of that, I got soccer every day. So,
How's the soccer team doing?
We're actually doing pretty good. We won a game on Saturday, 11-1. It was a regional opponent, and we actually have 2 big games coming up this week.
And what are those games?
We have a game Wednesday. The girls play before us at 2:30, and we play at 5. It's against Great Lakes, and they're actually pretty good this year, so it should be a good game. And there's actually a tailgate going on before or during it. Okay. 3 o'clock, right?
3:30.
3:30.
That's exciting. So what's one message you can give to your soccer team right now? It can be anything.
Putting me on the spot here. That soccer team, it's great. We're a family, but there's also a Grace family, and that we should try to connect with as many people as we can at Grace, because we're only here for some people even 2 years. So 2 to 4 years, you got to get to know people here and build relationships that you otherwise wouldn't have.
So how did you find out about Grace?
It's a funny story, actually. My senior year of high school, I was playing soccer in high school, and I'm like, I need to make a video because I want to play soccer in college, So I had a highlight video, and Coach Dusty actually reached out to me, and he wrote me like a page paper saying how good of a soccer player I was and that he wanted to get to know me. And even with that, I came and visit here, talked to him for an hour, and I decided to go elsewhere my first year. And I regretted that. And he actually told me when I committed that you're always welcome here at Grace. So I took him up on that offer, and here I am.
So what's different about Grace compared to where you went previously?
It wasn't the coach. And the coach wasn't. Yeah, he was a great guy. He actually like had one-on-ones with the players, but it was more the culture.
Hmm.
Like I grew up, or I was in the dorm room with a bunch of football players, freshmen. So it was a Lutheran school, but it didn't really act Lutheran outside of the chapels. So and I saw Grace, and it was different. So I decided to make the switch.
Mm-hmm. If you had your choice now, would you go back and room with a bunch of sweaty football players?
I would.
Oh, you would.
I would. It taught me a lot of lessons.
What did it teach you?
It taught me, honestly, just to not end up like being them, to take my education seriously and to take my faith seriously, because they obviously weren't. They were just there for football and whatever else they were doing, and I won't mention it. But
Yeah. So you mentioned how you came to Grace and found out about Grace. What are you studying here?
I'm actually only here a couple of days a week other than soccer, because my degree actually goes through Cornerstone. So I'm studying learning disabilities with a math minor. So I'm planning on being a teacher.
What made you pursue the degree you're going into?
Just the experiences I had growing up. I was my mom was actually, her work like sponsored Special Olympics, and so I got into coaching that and um, bowling with the kids there. And also, I had a family at church that we were family friends, and they had 3 kids with disabilities in their families. So I interacted with them growing up and fell in love with that. And then again in high school, I just really took the opportunity to be lunch buddies with a kid with Down syndrome, and just the simple things that made him smile. Like I taught him to zip up his coat, and the very next day, his mom comes up to me and she's smiling and says, "Look what he showed me when he got home." And it was just an unreal moment. I think that was the moment that really inspired me to pursue this degree.
And what would you say specifically about those experiences that gave you that passion?
It was just my heart. I just felt sympathy for them, saw the need, and that you could really make a difference in their lives if you just care for them and just talk to them. It doesn't have to be something out of this world. It's the simple things that mean the most to them.
What makes this degree and its use important for our world?
There's not enough people that care for those who can't really care for themselves at some points. Yes, there's varying degrees of disabilities, but some people just don't have the heart for them. They think what's the point? They're just honestly just a waste of space. And up until like 30 years ago, there wasn't even anything for them in the education system. And
wow,
people are finally realizing that they can do things in life. They can run a cash register. They can inspire people with their words if you just guide them.
Thanks for sharing all that. That's really exciting that you have a heart to pursue that, because I think more people nowadays need those individuals in our communities, in our schools, who see value in those who are differently abled. So now we're going to take a little bit deeper dive into your life, kind of going backwards per se. What was your childhood like?
My childhood was filled with sports. Sports. I played, at one point I was playing like 4 sports at one time, track, basketball, baseball, soccer. And so I would go from one practice to the next, and it was just, I found my identity in sports. And even though I was going to church on Sunday, I was still sometimes even playing soccer on Sundays. So there wasn't much time for anything else.
Yeah. And if there was time for anything else, what would that usually look like?
I mean, I would honestly be playing outside or doing a little bit of homework you got as a kid. And wasn't really focused on my faith, honestly, even though I grew up in a Christian family.
And where did you grow up?
I grew up on the outskirts of Grand Rapids, so it's towards Rockford, and I lived there since I was like 4, and went to Northview High School or Northview Middle School, and then I switched to North Point in 7th grade.
What is your family like?
My family is very competitive, I would say. All 3 of us kids played soccer in high school at least, and my sister's actually here at Grace playing soccer this year. So,
Oh, cool.
and my dad always jokes and says she's the better Farnsworth. So I had to try to prove that wrong, but she's pretty good for a girl, I would say.
You hear that? Jared's still rooting you on. How has your family impacted your life?
My dad has taught me to just, in whatever I do, just do it to the best of my ability. He was my coach growing up for a number of years, probably until I was in high school, honestly. Basketball or soccer were his 2 big sports. And so he was really just pushing me to excel at that. And my mom was always there when my dad wasn't happy on how I played, always comforting me and caring for me and making me food, breakfast in bed, doing the most for me.
So, how did your experience getting coached with your dad? What did that teach you? What did he teach you growing up?
He taught me to persevere. Like senior year of high school, I actually fractured my hip, and I played on it because it was my senior year. Looking back at it, I actually regret it because I'm suffering consequences now. But yeah, perseverance is huge for him and now myself.
If you don't mind me asking, how did you fracture your hip?
Funny story. My mom was asked by a family friend if I would fill in for track.
Oh.
And so I was in the 4x1 because I was fast. And 50 meters in, I heard a pop. And so I told my mom never to sign me up for track again. We were winning up until that point too. That's what upsets me. We finished the race in 3rd, but it happens.
Yeah. What was high school Jared Farnsworth like?
Other than the fact that I was probably smaller than all the girls in my grade, I was kind of let's say like a lone wolf. I got along with everybody, but I never really had any close friends, I would say. Like I could have been in the athletic group, but then I was also with the quote unquote nerds. So Yeah, it never was a great experience for me, I would say.
Looking back on those experiences, what would you tell your high school self?
To put myself out there more. I was very shy. I'm still shy. I don't even know how I'm up here right now. But yeah, I just to interact with people that more and to hang out with them outside of lunch or soccer.
When did you become a Christian, Jared?
Um, it was when I was 5. My mom, I, I, I was at Awana, and my mom picked me up, and I just felt the need to pray with her for for God to come into my heart and for Jesus to save me. And that wasn't really the turning point in my life, but it was kind of the first time I realized I need him.
Tell me a little bit about the turning point in your life.
Well, honestly, even though I went to a Christian school since 7th grade, I never really took my faith seriously, I would say. Yeah, I did the reading for the classes. I got the A's in Bible classes for the most part, but it was for other people and not myself. And it wasn't until honestly this past year that I realized that I actually need to get to know the Bible for myself and really discover who he is and what my purpose is.
Hmm.
So throughout this past year, this is the first time I'm gonna read the Bible as a whole. I'm on pace. So I just started Matthew 2 days ago, I think. So
Mm.
read the whole Testament. Now it's the new stuff.
Yeah, in relation. What would you say was a pivotal, quote unquote, God moment in your life?
Looking back on it, this year has been honestly one of the hardest years of my life, but the most rewarding. I've had, relationships not work out, and I had a cat that of 15 years that literally lived on my bed die this summer. And the real turning point was actually in A term, the first week of A term. My mom comes in my room. I think it was Saturday, and she goes, "Did you hear the news? So and so killed himself." And I'm thinking to myself, why? Why? That's the question everybody asks. But the first memory that came to my mind, it wasn't how close I was to him as a kid, because he was a good childhood friend of mine. He actually lived half a mile from me. It was what I said to him and how it hurt. It probably hurt him, that really stood out. And I still have it in my mind cycling. Because I remember, I'll tell the story. I don't remember how old I was, but it was my birthday party. And he was this kid that was into books. He was into rocks. And then I'm here, this little guy that has so much energy. He plays 4 different sports. And for my birthday, he got me a book. And I blatantly said, "Why did you get me a book?" Or along those lines. And now looking back on it, how did that make him feel?
Hmm.
And I kept thinking that in my mind. He that Why did I get him a book? Was, "You're not good enough.
Hmm.
You I don't care about you, you know? And that was kind of, honestly, probably the last year I even hung out with him, because I would go on to switch schools and kind of live my own life. But then coming back and now realizing he's gone, and I can't, what could I do for him now? So yeah. So I've been working on that.
And in the midst of that, where could you see God in the midst of that?
It was just on my heart to just care for others and actually consider them, because I didn't talk to him. I think I saw him at my open house, and other than that, I never checked up on him or even stayed in touch with him, even though he was literally 5-minute walk from my house. So it just challenged me to actually be a person that someone is willing to go talk to. And I think for me to do that, I actually need to find myself first, and so that I can actually be a reflection of Christ to them. And so that I'm just working on myself right now and just trying to be that light in this fallen world.
So Jared, you said you were working on yourself, and a lot of personal growth comes from that self-discipline, but it also comes from being poured into by other people in your life. Who is someone who you would say has made a big impact in your life?
I would say my mom, first and foremost. She's always checking up on me, even when I didn't show up, or I was playing cards with Pastor Rick at like 10 o'clock, and she texts me, "Are you okay?" And so she really cares for me, and I know I can tell her anything. And another one for me, since I'm an athlete, my coaches, more this year than most, I'm willing to go talk to them. Even Coach Dusty told me, he's like, "We need to have more one-on-ones, Jared." So just doing that and just having them check up on me is really big.
That's good. How do those individuals inspire you? What about them inspires you?
Well, they've already walked or been where I'm sitting right now. They've been college students. Coach Dusty's actually been a college athlete here at Grace, so he kind of knows a little bit about what's going on in life, and I can just reflect off that and learn from that.
So right now, I'm going to ask Jared to give us a truth bomb.
I would say I'm going to draw from one of my professors here. He said there should actually be three commandments. You have the first one, that's love God. You have the second one, that's love your neighbor as yourself. But really, there should be one in the middle, and that's love yourself. Because how are you going to love your neighbor if you don't know how to love yourself?
Thanks for that, Jared. Well, thank you for listening to the Listen Up podcast. And as always, listen up. Thank you for listening. If you would like to be a part of our live audience, recordings take place Mondays at 1:30 p.m. in the Quiet Room. If you would like to be a guest on our show, send us an email at listenup@gracechristian.edu. See you next week on the Listen Up podcast.